Here's the dirty little secret about the venture capital industry for founders. Everybody lies. Everybody lies. And they don't do it because they're mean people or they want to mislead people. They do it because they don't want to miss a deal and they don't want to have the courage to give you the kind candor that you deserve of telling you maybe you're not ready to raise venture. Maybe your deck isn't good enough. And I feel that that does a disservice to the founders. First of all, it wastes a lot of time. So founders are having conversations they really shouldn't be having. But more importantly, it doesn't help the founder get better. Instead of telling them you don't have enough traction, how about telling them this is the traction you need to have for us to be interested? This is the revenue, this is the growth, and these are the KPIs and the targets we look at for our portfolio company. So if you want us to pay attention, you need to look like this. But they don't do that. What I do is the exact opposite. What I tell founders is, David, I looked at your deck and I got to tell you, needs a lot of work. And here are the areas that I think it needs work and why. And here's what it says or doesn't say to me. And I'm happy to help you with that. Or David, I know you want to raise now, but you don't have the traction or the KPIs to raise. And here are the KPIs you need versus the ones you have. And here's the delta. And what I think you should do is wait another 3 months or 6 months. And then when you get to these metrics, that would be an appropriate time to raise because we can do it in a shorter amount of time and raise more money at a better valuation. But nobody wants to have those conversations. I do want to have those conversations because when I started doing that, founders were like, why doesn't anybody tell me this? This is so helpful. And I'm like, because they're afraid and I don't have that fear. I want great outcomes for founders, but I think to get great outcomes, you have to have kind candor with people. I do.
Why do you think you don't have that fear?
I don't want to say I don't care because I do care. I care about my tribe. And what I mean by that is people either get me or they don't. And I got plenty of people that get me that are in my tribe. I don't need more. If you don't like the feedback or you don't want the feedback, I'm totally fine. I got 50 founders over here that want that feedback that I talk to 20 founders a week. So every week I got 20 other founders that want that feedback. And my process has shown that by doing this, these founders go faster. How do they get to Series A? Well, we raise money at the right time from the right investors. That's how you do it. And I think that having no fear comes from the perspective of if you want to win in this game, you have to be willing to do things that others are not willing to do. And I think that's for the founder, and it applies to me as well. I cannot ask my founders to do something I'm not willing to do myself, which is you have to be fearless.
What sorts of opportunities or signals are you looking for that others might overlook?
Here's a great one. There is a problem in venture, and that problem is that founders that don't look like you and I, and that could be female founders, immigrant founders, Black founders, doesn't matter. They just don't look like you and me. They get less than 2% of the venture in the world. 2%. Some of my biggest exits have been those founders. And what I've realized, which has been a massive unlock for me, is that founders that come from a different background than me, maybe they are an immigrant, maybe they're a woman, whatever, it doesn't matter. But someone that's taken maybe a different path, I find a couple of things that everyone else overlooks. I find people that in most cases are humble, they have humility, they are incredibly hardworking. They care less about things like valuation and an exit and more about building a great company and the people that believe in them to help them do it. And the last one is most of them have no plan B. Arnold Schwarzenegger, that most people know, did a famous talk, I think it's a TED talk, about the reason he won at life in bodybuilding, movies, the governorship, all of it, is because he had no plan B. And these founders typically have no plan B. And if you look at my portfolio, and this was not by design, it just happened that way, a third of my founders are underrepresented founders, founders that don't look like me. And I think that's a massive unlock for me. And I'm fine that venture ignores it because it's more fun for me to hang out with them. I almost feel like I got a ticket to the seat at the cool kids table and no one else has tickets. It's awesome.
How do you balance gut instinct versus data in your decision making?
At where I play at the pre-seed stage, a lot of it is gut instinct. And you may have heard this phrase before, David. I don't know what I'm looking for, but I'll know it when I see it. Well, now I've talked to 3,000 founders over the years. So I don't know what I'm looking for, but the second I see it, I go, that's it. It's just it. It could be their path. It could be, I ask questions like, David, tell me the worst failure of your career and what you did and what it taught you. It's very telling. Some founders will be like, I had a thing. It was no big deal. Some founders are like, oh, let me just, like the last company, it imploded. Let me tell you how. But that's telling to me. I look for founders that can learn. I look for founders that are coachable. Like when I get on the phone and a founder just wants to tell me how smart they are and I'm an idiot and they don't need me, there's no reason for us to talk any further. Like I love founders that want to learn. I'm 53 years old. I learn every single day from my founders. I think I'm as coachable now as I was 20 years ago. And I think that's a great skill. And I look for that. And those are like those intangible things. The data stuff at the early stage, what I tell people is LOIs are better than no revenue. Revenue is better than LOIs. More revenue is better than less revenue. So the more KPIs you have and the more growth and virality to what you're doing as it comes to data, the better you can position yourself. Everyone's like, well, how much? I go, I don't know, but more is always better. And that's really, when I look at data, I'm going, I don't care if they have $100,000 a month. What I care about is they may only have $10,000 a month, but Steve, 60 days ago, it was $500. It's growing at 30, 40% a month and it's compounding and people are banging down our door to buy our product. We just don't have enough capacity, AKA capital. That's where we could use your help. So it doesn't have to be metrics that are so big that you're like, oh, here's the next Tesla. It could be metrics that are just showing signs of virality and showing signs of early product market fit.
When deciding to invest, which factors matter more? The founder's background, the market opportunity, the product or tech, or something else entirely?
For me, it is the founder and team, the founder and team, and the founder and team. There are no other things. Products are going to change. I have founders that are at Series A that have pivoted their product 5 times. Product's going to change. Market opportunities are going to change. They're going to shift. 2 years ago, everybody was talking about crypto. Now they're all talking about AI. The market shifts very fast. So that's going to change. And your opportunity and TAM, SAM, SOM, as everybody calls it, is going to modify over time. What was a great market could be down and then back. We saw that in the blockchain crypto community. So to me, it always goes back to the team. I don't get jazzed about products. I get jazzed about vision. I get jazzed about people that have a vision. I mean, love them or hate them. I love the thought of the thinking of Elon because he's like, oh, right, you can't build electric cars in the United States. Well, he's putting 300,000 a quarter on the streets right now. You can't build a rocket because NASA does that. Well, now NASA's his biggest customer. You can't go to Mars. Like, I love people that just think like that and like, oh, I can't do that. They see the opposite. They go, if everybody's saying you can't do it, there's a massive opportunity there. That's the type of thinking I like to see. Product, market, the market's huge. Well, that could change. My products, I hear this all the time. Nobody's doing the product like we're doing it. I go, there's 8 billion people in the world. I can assure you, in some small corner of the world, someone has not only done what you're doing, they've done it better and faster and cheaper.